Welcome back. I am Largo, and today we are checking out another SCP video. This one is going to be SCP-2675 The Cradle. Now, this is a video from the Volgan. Judging from the title, it says radioactive/teleportation SCP. If that is, that's kind of scary because that means it can irradiate anything. You could be sleeping in your bed or something and it'll just pop up. But again, I don't know. So let's go ahead and check this out. This is SCP-2675 The Cradle.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Miller, and the SCP we're going to be looking at today is SCP-2675.
Hi, Dr.
Object
Miller.
Class, Keter. Special Containment Procedures. Containment efforts regarding SCP-2675 are suspended. The anomaly is to be destroyed on site. Engagement of SCP-2675 is optimally conducted by aircraft, as the anomaly has proven both elusive and advantaged against naval units. Neutralization procedures are to be focused on complete thermal destruction of the vessel. Reports of maritime disasters and unusual incidents are to be monitored, with primary attention directed at the Arctic, Northern Atlantic, and Northern Pacific Oceans. See Reconnaissance File 2675 for details and areas of special attention.
Okay, so right off the bat, this seems like it's a nautically themed SCP. It seems to affect things in the ocean, boats, and vessels of types. And it seems to be primarily located in the Northern Hemisphere. Okay.
Satellite observation of the aforementioned areas will be maintained continuously. Civilian or military contact with SCP-2675 requires immediate implementation of Grade 4 media blackout protocols and the deployment of an aerial response team from the nearest practicable facility. General Pyotr Vinogradov, Security 42675, will direct the assembly and operations of the aerial response team. Non-Foundation survivors recovered from SCP-2675 events will be administered Class A amnestics. Description: SCP-2675 is the Sibir, an Arktika-class nuclear-powered icebreaker constructed by the Soviet Union in 1977. Official records from the Russian Federation indicated that the Sibir was retired in 1992 due to a steam system malfunction. However, documents turned over by the GRUP reveal that the Sibir was lost during a mission in the Arctic Ocean, investigating a believed anomalous artifact. Although SCP-2675's current appearance is not significantly different than it was prior to its 1992 disappearance, the vessel may spontaneously change shape and produce additional structures, equipment, or weaponry. SCP-2675 generates varying levels of neutron radiation and is frequently observed to produce a pale blue glow in surrounding waters, believed to be Cherenkov radiation. In addition to traveling in a mundane manner, the vessel also possesses a second form of transportation. This second method consists of SCP-2675 wholly vanishing from one location and manifesting elsewhere. The nature and limitations of this ability are unknown, though it does not appear to detriment SCP-2675 and coincides with a momentary increase in neutron radiation from the vessel.
Wow, okay. So it's an icebreaker class Soviet vessel, if you will, a Russian vessel, and it emits radiation out of itself and the surrounding waters. Can change, it generally looks like it's supposed to, but can, on occasion, change its shape, armaments on the ship, and it teleports. A radioactive ship that teleports. Interesting. I wonder if they're going to talk about any type of pattern of behavior for something like this.
SCP-2675 is sporadically encountered by military and civilian naval vessels in waters of the Arctic, Northern Atlantic, and Northern Pacific Oceans, occasionally being spotted as far south as the Sea of Okhotsk, the Gulf of Alaska, and the North Sea. SCP-2675 is hostile and extremely dangerous, though its aggression seems secondary to a primary objective, the nature of which remains speculative. No crew or other personnel have ever been observed on or inside SCP-2675. However, previous encounters with the anomaly have determined the existence of a discrete entity now designated as SCP-2675-1. SCP-2675-1 is believed to be the vessel's captain or controller, and while the entity has not been visually identified, it has communicated with civilian, military, and Foundation personnel via radio. SCP-2675-1's voice is consistent with an adult human male, and the entity is fluent in Russian, French, and English. SCP-2675-1 is both hostile and highly intelligent, making use of SCP-2675's stoutness and anomalous properties to compensate for its lack of military configuration. Engagement Log 2675 Alpha. On November 7, 1995, SCP-2675 was observed by numerous civilian sources in the Bering Sea. The nuclear icebreaker's presence was not immediately thought to be unusual, given its close proximity to Russian shores and Arctic waters. 8 hours following initial observations, SCP-2675 made contact with an American commercial vessel and engaged with extreme prejudice. Reports intercepted by Foundation personnel in Anchorage, Alaska describe numerous anomalous properties exhibited by the icebreaker. These reports were redirected immediately to the Regional Superintendent's office in. Upon order from the Regional Superintendent, Foundation contacts at Naval Base Kitsap in Washington State deployed the Altman, an Airlie Burke-class destroyer, to the Bering Sea. Notes: the Altman maintained radio contact with Foundation contacts at Naval Base Kitsap throughout the mission, which, coupled with recovered video and audio recordings, have allowed for a largely reliable record of the event. Begin log. Unknown contact. Identify immediately or be destroyed. 20 seconds of silence. Unknown contact. Identify immediately or be destroyed. Yeah? Repeat. Americans. You want to know who am I? I am Herald of God. Clarify. I sail for the God-child, born of the atom. My flesh burns with the light of his knowledge. I am no longer life, but time and energy. Is that answer enough for you? That is indeterminate. You're responsible for numerous civilian casualties and must be detained. Allow yourself to be escorted into our custody or be destroyed. The God-child does not desire this, and neither do I. I alone am master of this ship, and only God can direct me. Surrender yourself or be destroyed. There will be no further communication. SCP-2675 transfigures, producing 2 large devices resembling microwave emitters on its starboard deck. The Altman fires an RGM-109B Tomahawk missile at SCP-2675. However, the target vanishes prior to contact. Missile detonates underwater. SCP-2675 manifests at point-blank range to the Altman, ramming it on the latter's port side.
Oh, snap. So this thing doesn't just make, teleportation jumps for travel. It literally used teleportation to dodge a missile and appear within ramming distance of the vessel that attacked it. Wow, okay.
The Altman suffers significant damage but opens fire on SCP-2675 with its Mark 45 artillery and M242 Bushmaster cannons. While under fire, SCP-2675 directs both of the aforementioned devices at the Altman. Crew aboard the Altman report the spontaneous appearance of many transparent and luminous humanoid figures, which, as determined by the onboard dosimeters, all produce lethal levels of ionizing radiation. At this point, SCP-2675 has sustained grievous damage from the bombardment and breaks away, heading north. The Altman continues its assault until SCP-2675 vanishes again.
Oh, man. Ooh. What an interesting form of attack. So it brought up these giant microwave emitters. So I was thinking, okay, this thing is going to unleash massive amounts of microwave radiation at these guys and basically cook the crew. But instead, apparently it creates these wraith-like specters of humans that walk around the ship, and as they do, they just output fatal amounts of ionizing radiation. So even after 2675 breaks away from the attack and disappears, the crew of the ship that attacked it is essentially dead men walking. They're all just on borrowed time at this point. If their bodies have been bombarded with enough radiation, the cells in their body are already destroyed. They've already been mangled by the radiation, and it's only a matter of time before they succumb to radiation sickness.
End log. In the aftermath of Event 2675 Alpha, 2 Sikorsky CH-53E Super Stallion helicopters were deployed to determine the status of the Altman and search for survivors. It was determined that all personnel aboard the Altman were killed either by SCP-2675's collision, drowning, or radiation poisoning. Analysis of recovered video footage indicates that personnel suffering radiation poisoning from contact with SCP-2675 displayed atypical symptomatology, including transparency and luminosity of organic tissues and emission of Cherenkov radiation from the eyes, due to interaction between charged particles and the vitreous humor. At the time of its next recorded appearance, the damages sustained by SCP-2675 during Event 2675 Alpha were seemingly repaired, and noticeable changes were observed in the vessel's structure. Investigative Report, Carmichael.
Ooh, oh man. So the people who were irradiated while they were dying from this radiation poisoning started experiencing weird symptoms of these effects, with transparent or semi-transparent skin, light coming from the eyes. It seems like that they were irradiated by this, but that they may themselves end up becoming some of these radioactive ghosts, lack of a better term.
Excerpt. In May of 1996, several former GRUP operatives were granted asylum in return for the relinquishment of numerous documents, including those pertaining to the Sibir's service history. Reports indicate that the icebreaker was utilized by the GRUP for reconnaissance and transportation of materials between installations in northern Russia. The vessel's last recorded mission, in 1992, entailed the investigation of an electromagnetic anomaly in the Arctic Ocean. Contact with the Sibir was lost 4 days into its mission, following a final radio transmission from the captain, the nature of which was undetermined at the time. The following is a recording of transmission. I have placed the child in his cradle. It is a crude cradle, small and weak, but it is all that my ship could give him. The truth is that we were not looking for him. He was looking for us. He found us, looking through his frozen cocoon. We looked at him, but did not know or comprehend. I broke open his cocoon and held him in my hands. I burned, but did not feel pain. My men and I were reduced to ash in the snow. Without eyes, we could truly see. Without flesh, we could truly feel. I felt the love of God. I saw the light of His Majesty. In this nuclear age, we can think of only missiles and power plants, but there is something purer inside all of us. We are atoms. The God-child sits in the heart of my ship, and He will take us on a long journey. When I return, I will show all men His love, and I will find the other children that sleep in the sea.
Child of the Atom talk it's very reminiscent of the children of the atom in the Fallout series and their worship of all things nuclear and nuclear weapons, the concept of radiation, things like that. It's very similar to this. It seems like this captain here has been influenced by whatever happened, and he's now speaking of kind of what happened. It seems like him and his crew were stripped of their flesh, probably killed by this ionizing radiation, and then turned into these ghosts, these radiation ghosts, if you will. Yeah, interesting. He's talking that, we're all atoms, which is true. We are all atoms. So maybe, what is this atom child? Like, what entity are they referencing that is commanding them to do this? That they're seeing this light because they no longer have eyes. They've been stripped of all their flesh, and now they're just these radiation ghosts, but they can now see the truth. Very, very interesting.
Event 2675, November. On July 8, 2005, SCP-2675 was observed in the Greenland Sea, attacking a fishing trawler. The entire incident was observed by a nearby personal sailing vessel, the owner of which testified that SCP-2675 rammed the fishing trawler, causing the latter's hull to breach and the entire ship to eventually capsize. As the trawler was sinking, SCP-2675 produced several devices consistent with those seen in Event 2675 Alpha and directed them at the capsized vessel. During this process, numerous meteorological disturbances were observed, and an aircraft resembling a rigid airship in the sky, emerging from cloud cover. Upon the appearance of this aircraft, SCP-2675 immediately ceased its previous activity and produced several unidentified and unprecedented structures, all of which it then directed at the aircraft. Both 2675 and the aircraft began to sustain severe thermal damage with no identified source. After several minutes, both participants disappeared, but not before the sailing vessel received a radio transmission from SCP-2675-1. It is believed that this transmission was broadcast at an extremely high amplitude and on all marine VHF and aircraft band frequencies, as it was detected by various other marine and aerial recipients over an area of... Below is the recording of this transmission.
You are unworthy. You cannot have them. Surrender your cradle to me.
SCP-2675 was not observed again until 8 months following this event. It showed no signs of damage, but demonstrated a significant increase in neutron radiation emission. The anomalous aircraft has not reappeared, in conjunction with SCP-2675 or otherwise.
Okay, again, really weird. So, did it manifest the aircraft? Because it seems like the aircraft came out of nowhere, and then it manifested weapons to attack the aircraft. It's almost like it was battling the aircraft. Like the radiation boat was battling some ghost aircraft of some kind. And then they both disappeared. It's so many questions. Is it battling a completely separate entity? Is this another SCP that is going up against? Or is it created by 2675? Is this some kind of manifestation of maybe a battle that was in previously or something? Interesting. So it can manifest these like spirits of people that put out ionizing radiation, and it can manifest aircraft as well, along with change its configuration and teleport, all while putting out radiation.
During his interrogation, the sailing vessel owner turned over several photographs he had obtained of the event, which included some images of the aircraft. After investigation, it was determined that the aircraft's dimensions and markings were consistent with that of a Zeppelin developed by Nazi Germany in 1943 as part of an experimental nuclear weapons program. The is known to have been carrying or integrated with an anomalous object unidentified in available records. Okay, I think that about does it for today. Thank you for listening, if indeed you still are, and you're all dismissed. Goodbye.
Okay, that was SCP-2675 The Cradle. Pretty interesting one. A nuclear-powered Russian icebreaker vessel that apparently has the ability to reconfigure its equipment and produce and manifest ghost-like spirits of humans that output ionizing deadly radiation, and an aircraft of some kind, apparently it's a German-made Zeppelin, World War II era German-made Zeppelin. It's said that the aircraft had not been seen with the ship again. This almost This almost implies that the icebreaker ship and the Zeppelin are two completely separate entities that potentially have a similar origin in the fact that both of them have to do with radiation. Both of them were essentially a science project, right? One was sent out north into the ocean to find some kind of anomalous electromagnetic thing that was happening, and the other one was a Nazi Zeppelin that was combined with some kind of anomalous artifact, and both of them output radiation and have to do with nuclear weapons. So there's a similarity there. Almost makes me think that there are like these like ghosts of the atomic age, right? Like ghosts of the ship, ghosts of the Zeppelin, and possibly ghosts of other thing. Like, is there a ghost of the plane, the Enola Gay, that dropped the nuclear bomb on Japan? Like, what about that? What about the victims of nuclear disasters, the victims of the atomic bombs dropping, the side effects on the people around the Pacific Ocean in the Bikini Atoll, or those scientists that died in nuclear power plants or studying nuclear radiation? Where's the ghost of Marie Curie? She died of radiation. Like, are these kind of connected? It almost feels like it's trying to write this story of like the dangers of the nuclear age, right? Almost like this story should have been written in like the 50s or something. Has a different kind of feel to it. I kind of like it. Not my favorite SCP. This one doesn't feel quite as fleshed out as some of the other ones, and even if you're trying to give it this air of mystery around it, I still feel like some of the other SCPs are a little better written. It's not a bad SCP. Definitely interesting. I definitely have questions about this, and I hope they expand on it in the future a little bit. That being said, I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the reaction. If you did, go ahead and click that like button. Consider clicking the subscribe button to help the channel grow. And most importantly, leave a comment down below. What other videos do you want me to see? What other SCPs do you want me to check out? Leave it down below and we can get to those in the future. Thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for watching the video. Take care of yourselves and have a great day.